I'm Anas Fayaz, and welcome to another squishy classic from your favorite Georgia fan. I'm going to take those sounds. Those are a disgrace. To yap that happy. That's a fucking classic. Anyways, what I'm here to talk about is the grander internet culture and how it has been shaped through so much bias and so much ignorance. It's honestly, I'm just going to. It's honestly heartbreaking. That is the only term that I can use to describe this. Is how infuriating it is, and I do not know where to start. So I'm going to start in the middle. Luigi Mangio, uh, a rich boy, went to Ivy, uh, Pokemon fan, based, uh, had spine surgery or something that made him unable to have sex, and then he went and killed a health CEO. I'm going to get some doubts out of the way that I think he is a fall guy. Why do I think that? It's more than just his his eyebrow not matching and stuff. It's more about the fact that he does not seem to be that guy from the footage that we saw. That the other person is so methodical, and to be caught in a McDonald's flirting with some cashier, I don't think that is the thing he would have done. I think the NYPD, or it is the is it the NYPD that is responsible for this case? I have no idea, but whoever is responsible for this case is trying to save face, in that they do not have the person that they need, that the person that should be tried, the person that actually killed the CEO. So now they're using this boy as a scapegoat, as it's trying to frame him into doing this. Or it could be that person. It's really a 70-30 in that he is the killer 70% of the time, but I also think 30% of the time that there is someone out there, and then that there is something that we are not told about, as is typical for every case. We are not told about anything. Maybe we are going to maybe we're going to get something out of this 70 years later when the CIA documents have been declassified. The fact that he was actually a fall guy and the actual person was never found, and we're going to laugh about it, and there's going to be YouTube videos. But the fact of the matter is that the, the whole world was took by a storm by the murder of one person. Not in a horrific manner. It was not any appalling act. It was just taking of life, something that happens regularly on a much crueler scale. The only fact that separated these two, and the fact that the police acted so quickly, so efficiently, and they organized it, and they tried to do it as fast as possible in trying to save face, is the only thing that separates him as and the bum that died the other day was that he was rich and he was not. Money was the only thing that separated these two, and that is class consciousness. You have more in common with the other person, or of the same economic strata. In other ideologies, if you are liberal, you have more in common with conservatives. If you're a right wing, you have more common with the left wing, and so on and so forth. Class consciousness, the brotherhood of a class, determines the not even determines the course of the nation that it will take, and how the people around um, will have their lives led. It all comes back to that quote. I think Napoleon said it, or some Roman legion said it, I do not remember. But the fact that if you give some, if you give a populace enough bread and circus, bread to keep them fed and circus to keep them entertained, they are never going to revolt. And that is true for this time. And social media and trying to fry our brains with all sorts of stimulations, that is to keep us busy from the fact that we are being looted. That billionaires, do you understand the concept of a billionaire? If he spent a dollar every second, it would take 30 years for him to run dry. A billionaire with $1 billion. We are not even talking about multi-billionaires. Just a person who possesses $1 billion. If he were to spend $1 every second, he'd be good for 30 years. It's ludicrous that billionaires can even exist. They could not exist in a post pre industrialized world. They exist now because we have created ways for people, for hierarchies, for the wealth of the person to go up the ladder. There was no concept of a factory of people working to pay for anybody else other than the king. The king was the only billionaire in its time. And that was for like a lot of reasons. He had the political power, he had a lot of influences, but it seems nowadays that anybody could be a billionaire. Not particularly. The people who are at the top want to stay at the top, and so it's like a frat party. Not everybody is invited, and if you want to be that way, I think the only path there is artistry. If people connect with you enough and give you their money, then only can you climb up the ladder. Or if you were born to rich parents, or you're a particularly sociopathic person who found like glitches in the system and like did a bunch of shit, it's impossible for 99% of the people to become the 1%. By design, it is by design to become to for the echelons to keep their money. $200 billion is not a money that any person should have. You do not need that in your lifetime. Nobody does. And a single person having a not autonomy over that much money cannot lead to good. Cannot lead to good. And even millionaires are dubious. I do not think millionaires should exist. I think not everybody should have the same amount of money, but I think there should be a cap as to how much money you can possess. Billion should be the limit. Oh, it startles economic growth and this and that. Who benefits from these economic growths if not the person on the top? Who does? No, I'm being serious. Who benefits from it other than the person on the top? Or the or the buddies of the person at the top who are sitting on the Senate? Who benefits from this? Anyways, so class conscious is really important, and you start to understand the fact that why this polarization is being done, is being pushed down our throats. When you understand the fact that class consciousness is the biggest nightmare of people like Jeffrey Bezos, or politicians, even like mostly Indian politicians. If you understand the fact that you have more in common with your neighbor than you do with Rahul Gandhi or Narendra Modi, you would start to understand they're not gods. They're not the people who could lead you to happiness. You are the only person who can lead yourself to happiness. And अच्छे दिन अच्छे दिन नहीं आएंगे if you keep voting for a person. That is not going to change anything remotely in your life. The only thing that is going to change is the person who's oppressing you. They are all spokes on a wheel. This one's on top and that one's on top, and on it spins, crushing those underneath. Thank you, Daenerys Targaryen. And yes, this changing a government, especially I am really fearful of the fact that India is uh, increasingly becoming a two-party system. There is no other option other than the opposition and the main party. That should not be so. There should be, it's a multi-party system for fuck's sake. There should be at least three parties, four parties that should be competing for the top spot, each having the same amount of weightage in the system, in the votings, each possessing the same amount of influence over the people. But it just seems that it's a two-party system, and even then, the one party that seems to be really influential is the only one that keeps winning, that keeps being incumbent, and that just seems to be that just seems to be failing upwards. That each their failure could be covered by could be taken up by the individuals, and the each victory is chalked up to the person itself. How could the win of an Olympian, a person who represented a nation on Olympics, be contributed to the person in charge of the government? That just does not make sense. Plainly, did you pay the fee of the person as they were being held, as they're being brought up? Is there a particular government plan that the person themselves have a claim to, being pivotal in their journey as an athlete? No, then how could you take credit from the hard work of a person, especially the Gukesh thing? He became the youngest world champion. It's a really proudful thing that Indians are taking back the fact that chess was invented in India and now we are taking back the world spot is really good. I am really in support of support of the whole thing. But what is uh, infuriating without a doubt is he gets 11 crore, of which if you deduct the taxes, the government gets 5 crores. So, 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 so the government, who did nothing, by the way, did absolutely nothing to get this money, get so much. Oh, and how could I say this in the same line as uh, saying that billionaires should not be taxed? I think that there is a line drawn between people who earn their earn the money, earn the titles, and capitalists. He did not make that money from exploiting African starving children. He made that on his own. Uh, he competed and he won. I don't think there's anybody in the world that could deny him of the prize money that was promised to him. So why should the government take taxes? And this is why like people hate me low key, because I am not. I aggravate the people who are actively like, oh, abolish income tax, and I also aggravate the people who are like, oh, tax the rich, because I think that tax should be a person to person thing. Person to person being economic status, and if I as a person, um, let's say, won a novel competition of in San Francisco, um, and the this sum is like $1 million, the government should not get a penny from my dollars. I don't see how that's bad. I do not see how that's bad. The government still will get money from that dollar because I will spend it as an Indian and put that into Indian economy, from which they will tax lucrative amounts on the sales tax and all the other tax that go on the GST. Is that gross sale tax? I forget. They will make a lot of money from that, but I don't think they should be grabbing that from my fucking pockets. Anyways, I see like a lot of hate between the Hindus and the Muslims in the comments and all across the social media. It's like a fiery debate. That oh, they did that or that did that, and it all comes back to me that you are people, you are Indians. There's more in common with you and your brothers here in India, with the Hindus of India, than there are in Muslims of Europe. I'm not even bullshitting you. Genetically, socially, culturally, um, economically, ideally, and there are like these things that the biggest fear of an Indian politician, of anybody sitting in office right now, is that the Indian Hindus and Indian Muslims will look past their boundaries. This class politics, this religion politics, this caste politics, which are which accomplishes nothing for our uh, country. The road that I travel to, the road that I commute by, has been shit for 4 years now. It's the uh, path that should take 20 minutes takes upwards of an hour because of how like trafficy it is and how shit the management is. India, especially Patna is not equipped to deal with the population it fosters. And I also wrote an essay about this some years back, a year back, uh, January of 2024, about how um, the Indian education system is actually not about educating anybody; it's about getting jobs. That was that. It is still on the bones that the British system had. In that the Britishers educated Indians, quote unquote, educated Indians, taught Indians just for them to become clerks. And that is the only thing that the Indian education system accomplishes is trains really good clerks. Per people who can write really good letters, who have really good handwriting and things that have been become obsolete for 20 years now, who can do a lot of menial thing but not thinkers, but not people with independent thought, not a creative soul could be spied in a fucking Indian classroom. And that is a sorry state for us, for the most populated country in the world. We should have, just by sheer brute force, the one of the biggest creative markets, but we do not. We cannot give the tools to the people that need it, our own youth, to the people that need it, for them to be creative, for them to be expressive, for them to do something and leave our culture. The biggest, good God, I'm getting worked up. The best way to present your culture, to become more significant in any case, is to produce banger medias. We do not. We do not. The books coming out of India, the music coming out of India, the music is getting better. The movies coming out of India are all so homogenized. They do not have a creative, just by brute force. We have 1.2 billion people. You'd think we'd have a few Tolkiens and few Martins in us. We do not, because we are not taught to be Martins and we are not taught to be Tolkiens. We are taught to be the editors. We are taught to follow the grammar rule. We are taught to become this ideal student, this discipline, this almost army unit. it is shameful for us as Indians and for the larger, um, what would you say, South Asian thing, and even like Filipinos and Indonesians, they too have oppressive, repressive education systems, and but they still have a lot of artists. If you look up on Instagram, you'd see a lot of Filipino artists. You'd see a lot of Indonesian artists. The same cannot be said about Indians. That is why there's this harmful fucking stereotype permeating the internet right now, and it's become so socially acceptable to hate on Indians, to make fun of them, to be racist towards Indians has become a norm. The things that were kept to the 4chan forums are being permeated out into the world, are being prevalent on benign fucking sites like YouTube. I just saw the other day, not the other day, a few months ago, uh, someone hating on Mutahar Anas, some ordinary gamers, and that simply for the fact that he was Indian. He was quote unquote stinky. He didn't use deodorant. He didn't shower, which is like middle school bullying tactics. If you didn't like someone, you'd point at them and say, "Oh, you're stinky. You smell like poop," which is fucking ironic from the people who use toilet paper to wipe their poop to call us stinky. We at least we at least have the dignity to use water. And more than that, the videos and photos that you see on the larger internet is not the true reflection of India. It is the true reflection of India, but it's not the whole picture. It generalizes, and the fact that you make fun of these people is the most. I am at loss. I'm at a loss of word, but uh, it's not just racist. It's being a dick to poor people. The, the people, do you think they have a choice in the way that the people that eat those food, that the ones that like trend every once in a while about cooking videos and stuff, do you think the people that eat that have a choice in the things that they eat? They do not, because they are fucking poor, because uh, they are a victim of the system, of course, but they are also um, under the uh, shadows of years of colonialism and years more of socially repressed uh, so, social oppression, ostracization. In that, I think it's not just being a dick, it's just desensitizing humans from empathy, from having the heart to feel for the people that are suffering. Oh, and also whenever I see this, uh, I saw this. Whenever you make an actual point about colonialism or being oppressed as a minority, people are like, oh, victim card activated. So, yes, I am a victim of the system. I am being wronged. And the second I raise my voice to say it, and the second I address it, the fact that you are wronging me, that the fact that the system is skewed against me, you say, oh, victim card activated. Should I stay silent and fucking take it? Do you have no other argument to my, no other rebuttal to my arguments? other than the fact that, oh, pointing to the obvious. It's victim cards, especially Twitter and the pop media in general has eaten away at people's vocabulary so bad. Especially like the teenagers of India who do not know any better. I truly, my heart goes out to them. They do not know any better. Because, like 10 years ago, those the people who were um, sending, um, begging foreigners for news and stuff are regretting it now. I'm sure of it, they're regretting it now because now they're looking for jobs, they're now looking for employment, they are now entering their 30s. And I'm sure they regret it, and I'm sure that they uh, mark, chalk it up to being just dumb teenagers. And I'm sure the people who leave like actual racist slurs, homophobic slurs, and like quote unquote to this person, pride flag, me, child emoji, the people hopefully in like 10 years, 10 years time would become could I hate using this word, just for a footnote, mature enough to understand that it's not about you and I. It's not about the world. It's about you. It's about you. It's what's internal that matters. So long. So long.